Hello, everyone. My guest today is Jevaris Little, co-owner of Red Lady Rum Punch. From St. Petersburg, Florida, after graduating high school, Jevaris would go on to the University of Illinois for sociology and communication. During his undergraduate career, Jevaris was an accomplished athlete and played as both safety and cornerback for the Fighting Illini football team. His experience in sports was a big teacher for him, and his time in football largely informed his overall perspective on life today, where he reaped wisdom and lessons on grit and perseverance, discipline as freedom, and embracing the suck and success. He attributes this time to forming him in leadership, communication, and strategic big picture thinking. After finishing his bachelor's, Jevaris would return home and work at a local medical office as an assistant manager before beginning his master's degree. This time largely informed him of what his aspirations in life actually are, and his experience here helped him distill down a more specific vision of his life. This was the aha moment for him, where he realized that entrepreneurship was the path for him. Before he went on to pursue his master's degree at Nova Southeastern University, Jevaris became part owner of Red Lady Rum Punch, a unique new alcohol spirit that is in a category of its own, making the Red Lady an up-and-coming new beverage brand. In the spring of 2020, he finished his MBA in International Business. He describes his core strengths as being in leadership, strategy, marketing, and finance, and these strengths are what aided him in propelling the Red Lady brand, as well as lituation management and the Newton Community Health Center, on which he serves the board to provide better health services to underdeveloped communities. Empowering and assisting those in need is his overarching mission and vision. He is walking the path of entrepreneurship to share his wisdom and knowledge to help others become entrepreneurs themselves. I'm very pleased to have had this conversation with Jevaris, as I met him just a few weeks ago in a very serendipitous sort of way. He is a man who has a lot of value to offer, and he's very quickly become a friend of mine. And we talk a lot about the merit of being journeymen that are walking the walk and taking the path. And we think that that is a great model for people that want to do that, but don't exactly know how to get started. So I'm very pleased to introduce you to Jevaris. He's a very wonderful man, and very glad that we could have this conversation, and I look forward to being able to speak with him on future episodes. So without further ado, Jevaris Little. Jevaris, thank you so much for joining me today on the podcast.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for inviting me. It's been we met last 2 weeks ago, and ever since then, you've been a valuable asset to my venture. Going beyond my business and stuff like that. So thank you.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'm really glad that we can make this conversation happen, because I think, for lifeGlass, the whole motto, the whole brand is productivity through perspective. That if you're aware of how much time you have, then you can be aware of what you can do. And I think part of getting that perspective is getting as many different voices from entrepreneurs or athletes, artists, people who are successful in their respective fields, or their, what's the word, their respective fields, I guess. And
Yeah.
and being able to use your experiences to help inform people and up and coming entrepreneurs.
So and like you said about inform people and stuff like that, I have nothing but knowledge in different categories of experience that I went through that I can share. I'm all for this platform and being able to share some of my experiences. I just want to let you know I'm still going through it.
Yep.
So I'm not through the woods yet, but I can definitely share everything I have learned so far.
I just wrote a post for lifeGlass's Instagram today that says, when you enjoy where you are, you'll enjoy where you're going. And I think that's been pretty big for me too, because looking at lifeGlass in terms of a 5-year or 10-year journey, it's really huge to just kind of appreciate and love the daily struggle, because there's going to come a point for each of us when we look back on this day with what we're going through, dealing with the grind and what we do for our respective businesses, that we'll actually miss it. We'll yearn for it, because this is where we kind of earn our stripes in a way, This is where we get our grit.
Yeah, exactly. And as not being totally successful yet. Just being able to love, like I said, love the grind, love the hustle, love the fact that they're still out there. There's still more out there to get in. Not be able to settle for just what you achieved so far, but to go out there and pursue more that is out there that you probably not even envision and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I completely agree with that, and I think for one thing, a advantage I think of having this conversation with where we are and then where we're going, and I'd love to like have this conversation with you again a year from now, 2 years from now, and and just like touch in and see like how and how you've developed, how I've grown, and just see
Hmm.
like how we evolve basically as because every day it's just taking like one little baby step at a time. And I think
Yeah.
the advantage of us being of young up and coming entrepreneurs is that you look at somebody like Tony Robbins, this huge this motivational speaker who's like the, I guess, paragon of what success should look like, or you look at like Gary Vaynerchuk or any of those guys or whatever. But I find that they're very hard to relate to because they're at a certain level that we are not yet. And I think for the person who's just starting out or is thinking about starting their own business or pursuing an opportunity, they can relate a bit more to us, as we take those first steps.
Exactly, and that's why I pretty much decided to come onto this platform because uh I can I'm in it right now, and if there's anybody that it's at the starter beginning thinking about it and stuff like that, and be able to give them the advice or give them the motivation to be able to go out and take that venture, stuff like that, then I think that'd be, like you said, be something that's more relatable and stuff, so I can motivate the masses, your crowd, your followers, your listeners, or whoever, to be able to take that leap. And hopefully I can be a regular guest on here, maybe sponsor your podcast as well. So I hope to hope this be like a continuing conversation, me coming on every now and then just to check in on where I'm at, where we at, later on down the life.
Absolutely, man. I completely agree with you. And I think it's just the you always hear you got to put on your own oxygen mask, like when a plane's going down, before you can
Hmm.
put on someone else's. And I think about that
Exactly.
a lot. I think for us who are highly aspirational and driven people, that if like the journey to quote unquote success, whatever that looks like, it's different for everybody. It's like climbing a wall. And in order to help people over the wall and climb the wall, because let's say on the other side there's this beautiful verdant garden of whatever your vision is of success, of what your future looks like, of what a life with abundance, which you can have and anybody can have, is just over the wall. But in order to help people,
Yeah.
like you get to the top of the wall and then you can reach down to help other people, but you have to climb it
Exactly.
first.
Exactly. And it's just like, you gotta practice what you preach and stuff like that. So and I look to my friends, family, relatives and stuff like that, to, keep me accountable. Make sure I'm, keeping a clear head, clear vision,
Absolutely.
especially walking by faith and stuff like that, which my mom has instilled in me.
Absolutely.
Just keep pushing,
Absolutely.
so yeah, so hopefully, like I said, hopefully this be an inspiration to your listeners and stuff like that, to be able to take that venture, do that business, take that, wherever they have envisioned, wherever they have envisioned, to be able to do something that create something generational for themselves and their family and stuff like that.
Well said. Yeah, that's very well said. And I like what you said about walking in faith. I was just listening to this talk from Earl Nightingale, which I recommend. I'll send you a link to it afterwards.
For
But
sure.
at the end of it, he says that persistence is a demonstration of faith or something like that. That, like,
Mm,
so long as you keep taking those little baby steps and you persist, that is demonstrating your faith, because you're saying, you know what, I don't know what life will look like 5 or 10 years from now, but you know what, I'm going to take these steps each and every single day because I believe, or I have the faith that things will fall into place as they need to.
that, that's yeah. You definitely got to send me that link because I'll definitely follow up on that and chew over that. After I hear that message and stuff like that. But speaking about persistence, I actually had to do a speech about persistence early in the year. Um, I, I've written many speeches in between time before from the beginning of the year to now. But just something that I can kind of like quote myself um, when I was thinking about, or when I wrote the speech, persistence, about persistence. It's just the you know it be times that it's just like you don't see nothing, like everything is going wrong. Everything is negative. You don't see nothing, you don't see how you're going to come out of the situation, but just to hold on, and what they say, like, hold the line. Just
The
just
line.
hold the line, tread water, something out of no way. God will make a way for you to be able to achieve, get out that situation and achieve a couple of steps, or put yourself a couple of levels beyond that situation where you was at. So yeah, it was just, yeah, I mean, when you speak about persistence, it kind of hit me, because when I written my speech about persistence, it just took me flashbacks to that speech and stuff like that, and what I had to speak about and stuff and things like that. So I
I think that's
appreciate that.
beautiful, man. And I think that that kind of made me network off in a couple of different directions. The first of which is that doubt, anxiety, fear, apprehension, the
Mm,
uncertainty. I don't know how it is for you, but it's like constantly there for me, and it's something that I
oh
work with
man.
every day. And I read from another great book you might like is The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Not The Art of War, but The War of Art. And in it, he talks about essentially for anyone with aspirations, it, you you have to face resistance, and resistance takes all sorts of different forms. I love that you wrote it down. Um, Resistance takes all sorts of forms, and he says that, like, the doubt, anxiety, fear, apprehension, whatever you're feeling, is an indicator of resistance. But resistance also is your true north. It's pointing you in a
Hmm.
way that when you get resistance, it's like, I'm going to keep treading, or I'm going to keep holding the line. I'm going to keep taking those baby steps forward, because this is an interesting sign that I'm getting. Like, if you're not being
Yes,
challenged in life, you're not going to necessarily experience resistance, but you're not going to necessarily be fulfilled either. So you don't know what's past that resistance if you just let resistance win out.
exactly.
You got to work through that.
Exactly. And it comes from just being, in the sports world, being, just knowing that you have to go against maybe somebody that's bigger, stronger, faster than you. But I mean, in the field, like, it's just like, all right, you're just gonna let them, just just beat you, or you're just gonna be like, let them win, like they say, you're gonna let them win getting off the bus. Like, you got to go
Yeah,
out there and perform, because just because he looked bigger, stronger, faster, and stuff like that doesn't mean he has the mindset, the will, the just
absolutely.
the consistency to be able to go out there and dominate over and over and over again. So yeah,
Absolutely.
so having that athletic background as well kind of helped me in a way to just keep me focused, keep that, I guess, that, what they say, the chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
It's not a chip, it's a boulder, because so that's what makes me get up and, like you say, find my North Star, and get at it, and point to
Yeah.
that direction.
Yeah. That's great, man. And there's got to be so many. I mean, having a background in football, and you played, did you
Um,
play any other sports, or was it all just like
uh,
all football?
well, I mean, in high school, yeah, it was strictly all football and track at the end and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, mostly football. Then I went to college, played at the University of Illinois, and played football. So yeah, it's been all football, but it's been a grind, and it teach you life lessons and stuff like that. And that's what
Totally.
I now like lean on, and think back on, like, because it was, back then, going through football camps and stuff like that, the dog days, the heat of the summer, shoulder pads, sweat, and you're just like, oh man, we we practiced earlier this morning. It's just 2 o'clock. We out here practicing again.
Absolutely.
Just have it,
Yeah.
just having that mental mindset of, all right, next
Loving
thing.
the grind. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
I think like performance of any type, because personally, I don't know if I told you in our phone call, but like I come from an acting background and
mhm,
I've been in the arts and acting for a long time. But I think in any type of performance, whether that's in the arts or whether that's in sports, definitely has so many like nuggets of wisdom that you can carry with you as you move forward in life. And that like informs you. And I think I'm a better entrepreneur because of like the steps I've taken and where I've been and, you know, having this background in acting as a result. I feel like I'm a better entrepreneur because I was in acting.
yeah, yeah, and you know, just to piggyback, kind of piggyback what you said, like, we all, and it may be, mine's in sports, yours in acting and stuff like that, but everybody has that, that time that they can revert back to, that if they want to venture out on their own as an entrepreneur or, whatever, you don't have to be entrepreneur, but, just now, um, they all had that time that be like, all right, how did I get through this time, that dark days, and be able to apply that to now and stuff like that. So it's not solely, oh, you got to be you know a football player or sports, anything sports background. Like, it's anything that that you may have gone through, that you was able to see yourself out and stuff like that. You
Yeah,
revert back to that now. So
exactly. That like just informs your experience moving forward, And it's like
yeah.
if you were, I think we have like a background or an origin story now. It's like, brother, like our origin story right now is being written, like this is the story we'll tell people 5 years from now.
Exactly. So
There was something else I
yeah.
wanted to touch on when you like talked about persistence, and that's this idea that from I heard from Jocko Willink, who was like this Navy SEAL, and he's
Mhm.
got a podcast and he's written a few books, and he's like a very like hard hitting, like no bullshit type of guy. I mean, being in the military and serving as many
Military.
tours as he did, and yeah, but you know his whole philosophy is that discipline is freedom. And I had to like sit on that and think about that for a while, but it makes so much sense to me because we know like our environment and our external world is going to be chaotic. It's going to
Yes.
be all over the place. It's going to be unexpected, and we can't control that. But what we can control is what we do every day, what we do with our time every day, and how we, like if we wake up and choose a regiment and we're disciplined in something as simple as brushing our teeth or making our bed. It's like
Yep.
that is something that is within our control. So discipline is freedom in the sense that everything that you can control in your controllable universe is like you become the master of your universe in a way because you're mastering yourself. You can't
Yeah.
you can't really think or focus so much on the world outside of you because that's going to be all over the place, but you can brush your teeth and make your bed.
And it can also, and something just like that is like, do what you do, but you do it best. Just like you said, making your bed up. That's what you do that 100%. And you control what's in your environment, like you said, and then everything else that you don't control. Let that fall. You don't have to go outside your element to try to fix things that you cannot be able to handle or anything like that. Like, as long as you are in control of your situation, in your and whatever is going on in your life, then you to be able to have that freedom and stuff like that, because you're like, all right, I'm good, because everything that I want, or everything that I knew I could do, I did. And everything outside of what I couldn't do, like I attempted it, but you know nature, shit happens and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So you don't try to, I mean, and I think about it like this, like, you don't go to the plate, or baseball players don't go to the plate and try to hit home runs, like, if they're gonna get struck out all the time. But you ground, single, single, double, somebody's coming home.
That's
Like,
right. That's
somebody's
right.
coming home. So you just want to create those elements that you're achieving something, um, one thing at a time. You know, you don't have to hit grand slams, you know, every day. You know, you
That's right.
finish two objectives that you want to get done personally. All right, next day, 3.
That's right.
Next day, 4. So you know, you just control, you know, what you do, your
That's very
actions.
well said. Yeah, you don't want to go to bed with a grocery list of things to do or a laundry list of, you know,
Because
if you go ahead.
I mean, because if you do that, then you gonna, you know, you first you're gonna, you know, stress yourself out, be like, oh man, you know, I only did 5 of the 20 things that I, you know, had on my, you know, schedule, but and you're gonna, you know, just stress about that. But you know, normal, you know, 5 things, like that's, I mean, human attention span is not that long. So
That's
so to
right.
achieve like 5 things that, you know, you want to get done personally is like the key, and you've probably gotten yourself better. So
Absolutely. Get specific about what the things are that you want to do. If that is just brushing your teeth, or if you just, you know, if you want to go to the gym, you know, go to the gym.
mhm,
If you set a list of, and you're starting really small, start with one thing that you do every single
exactly.
day that you promised yourself you would do. And then when you do that, it builds your confidence. You can go to bed and feel happy with yourself. You feel like you won the day because you fulfilled your promise that you made to yourself. And then
Exactly.
over time, yeah, you can tack on more things to do. You know,
Exactly.
you can add more, and then
And
yeah,
you build that stamina. You
absolutely,
definitely build that stamina, and you know, you just smooth selling, you know, from there. But
absolutely.
everybody, you know, and they have this thing about what they call it, Instagram. They call it Instagram. You know, everybody has one, and you know, you snap a picture. You know, you get instant gratification from people and stuff like that. But
Yep.
you know, achieving objectives is not supposed to be like quick. Like, all right, I got 20 things I want to get done today. It's gonna get done today, but you gotta, you know, grind it
Oh
through.
yeah.
Like, for example, like Canada, like, you know, when I first pursued it, like I already knew, like, you know, there's a different country, so it already mentally said that, all right, it's going to be a phase. Like, it's not going to be, all right, let me call Canada. I'm gonna get in there next week. You know, then we're racing.
Yes.
No, it actually is. I'm coming up on 6 months, 7 months, and they just now going to be tasting the product and stuff like that. So,
Wow.
so you just got to, you know, have that mental fortitude to be able to know that, you know, everything is not going to happen immediately. You know, off jump just because you said so.
Yes.
And you know, I think, you know, nowadays, you know, with everything being on social media, you know, people want to see success quickly, but they
Absolutely.
don't want to actually, you know, putting the time to actually get to that level and stuff like that. Because, you know, 2000s, Jeff Bezos was in the garage, you know,
Yeah.
with the sign that says Amazon over his desk, and you know, look at him now, one of the richest people in the world. So,
Yeah.
and that's like 19, 20 years of, you know, just grinding it
Right.
out. Because in the 2000s, I ain't hear Amazon. I mean, they was doing books, but you know, they wasn't
That's right.
where they was at now.
Still
So
just a
that's just,
tadpole.
yeah. So that's just one example. You know, just, you know, you just got to put in the time, put in the effort, because if you put in that work to get there, then it's going to take longer for it to digress, because you actually built it and you actually know like how much hard work you did. And it's not like, oh, you know, it happened immediately, but it can come down, you know, just as fast too. So
Absolutely. So for listeners who don't know, will you give a little bit of more context about Canada and how you had this feeling that it would do that Red Lady would do very well in Canada and getting it to different suppliers in the
oh,
area?
yeah, for sure. So right now we're in phase 2 of Canada. So how it started after I finished my master's in international business, and I wanted to start making some connections and start building my portfolio in the international community and stuff like that, because you know, it's something that, you know, always wanted to do with, you know, learning different cultures, like we spoke about. and
Absolutely.
um and then this guy who sits on the board of the board of the medical clinic that we're building down in Sarasota, we kind of like connected. And he's like, I have some people that you might, be able to relate to in the liquor industry and stuff like that. So he hooked me up with the CEO of a Canadian distributor. And when I spoke to him back in November, December, he told me that in Canada, like they open up tenders maybe once or twice a year. So off the bat, like I already knew, like, all right, this is going to be a little minute till things get rolling and stuff like that in their country. So he told me that the tender will open in May. May that just passed. So from December to like March, I was doing just working on making sure my ducks was in a row here, because I didn't want to get close to May and be like, there is this and this and this stuff that I don't have. So I made sure that I stayed in contact with the Canadian distributor that's going to be distributing the Red Lady, and making sure I got my my spreadsheets, information, any and everything about the product and the size of the bottle and all that good stuff. So, once time came and there was paperwork filing, then I was not scrambling last week, to try to make sure, things are in place. Yeah. So, so that's just one instance, and I don't want to bore you with the long story, but I mean, for right now, we passed the paperwork with flying colors, now we're on a phase 2 with the tasting, which we know we're going to get huge success, because we just off the feedback. And I'm not saying like I'm being cocky or anything, but just the way that people yeah, people perceive the Red Lady, and stuff like that. Me and my business partner feel very confident that we're going to be able to open up in Canada, because of just the drinking off the strength of what we've been getting from other people's and other distributors and stuff like that. So, yeah, and that's just one instance. This week, we're signing another. We signed with another distributor here in West Florida, which is one of the biggest distributors here on this side of the state, which is Great Bay.
Wow.
And they have a large backing. They're in a lot of, probably over 4,000 stores here in the county. So just to be able to say that we're going to different establishments and say we're part of Great Bay, that holds a lot of weight, and which is good for us, because they are now trying to get into the liquor, because they mostly deal with beer, but now they're trying to expand their portfolio. And more of them millennials are like not beer drinkers, so they trying to go to where the people are. And that's where we come in. So we feel like that's a good fit, because their portfolio is not that big in regards to liquor. Will be their 12th spirit and liqueur.
Oh wow.
So we're not going to get lost when it comes to being on their liquor.
They don't
spirit.
have hundreds of different SKUs for different liquors, and that's fantastic. Wow.
So we feel
that's
like
a huge win, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, man. And I think it's so cool too, for a couple of things, like with getting the connection to a distributor in Canada, you knew, having done a master's in international business, that this is what you wanted. You knew that, that you wanted to start building a portfolio with companies internationally. And I think that's really amazing. So you going into or doing your master's, you were preparing yourself. In a way, you planted the seed that then grew, because you were specific and said, this is what I want. I want an international portfolio. I want a lot of connections worldwide. And so it's pretty amazing to see, I guess, kind of the convergence of things that have happened that kind of took place and led you to this point. That's huge.
Yeah. And it's only just beginning. Like, and as I'm developing connections there, like they're leading me on to other people and stuff like that, when I want to take up expand and stuff like that, then they'll be ready to receive me generously, stuff like that. So it's just all about just building myself, building my brand,
Absolutely.
And being very, having that personality, like, yeah, like, I would like to, do ventures and stuff like
Absolutely.
that, and do more, create a diverse portfolio, not with just liquor, but also, like I told you, me and Claire, we own a marketing and management business,
Yeah.
that is, that's another startup right there. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm just trying to, diversify my portfolio, and, just create I guess I want to say a recession proof portfolio,
Yeah, of
but
course. Of
but
course.
also a generational portfolio as well. So, I could pass down to, my kids and the kids,
Absolutely.
just set them up.
I would say a portfolio itself is recession proof because if you put all your eggs in one basket, it's like, for me, for example, I mean, I got into entrepreneurship when I got furloughed from my job in Montana last year. And that was the only gig that I had. And it was very disconcerting to me because I realized that I was doing that. I was putting all my eggs in one basket. I was expecting an employer to pay me. And I recognized then that I had to kind of take the reins of my life, and realize that having a employment is not necessarily always secure. It's
Yeah.
a means to an end. It's a way I see now to build your business, whatever that is, but it's not necessarily going to make you rich. It just helps you get prepared for the other opportunities that you have.
Yeah. No, that, and I had a similar experience, but, I got out and went to, do my master's and stuff like that, because, I just saw better, felt like I can, I wasn't achieving, everything that I could be and stuff like that. So I just
Absolutely.
want to, go out and, do different ventures and stuff like that. So I pursued my master's, pursued trying to get international connections, not only for myself, but with the brand, the Red Lady, and my Lithuanian management, which is my other business, and, just grow from there.
Absolutely. And I think you touch on another really good point too, um, that it's not, well, first of all, grappling with the idea of like, I know I can be doing more. I feel like that's something that you and I also have that's just persistent. It's something you have to kind of wrestle with daily, like in the same way that you have fears, anxieties, or whatever. This constant need to, I can be doing more than I'm doing right now. I can be better than I am right now,
Yeah.
which is a good thing, but it can be, I mean, it becomes difficult to relax after a while, when you're just constantly feeling this pressure that it's like I should be doing more for my business right now.
Yeah. And what, like, kind of struck me was like, you come in, just pretty much do the same thing every day. Like, it's like, oh, the routine is nothing outside the box, outside the thinking. Like, everything was already, this is what you do. Like, if this happened, then this happened. Like, it was like, now it's like, all right, you know, if something happened, then I can take it upon myself and, try to fix it my way. Um,
Absolutely.
and, I am in control of the situation and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So, and that's why I like the control of, being able to, go which direction I want to go and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
That's
Being able to
based on
have,
based on
yeah,
my expertise, or what I feel is right.
absolutely. Being able to have control of your time, and to not
Mm.
have to necessarily worry about money, that money doesn't solve all your problems, but it solves all your money problems. I've heard really well said. And that's ultimately, I guess, what we're seeking, right? Is a sort of financial independence and freedom that, like, once we've established something, that we can live a life that's free, where there's not really that worry of how rent's going to be paid next month, and then also that we can perpetuate that, you know, through our children and through future generations.
Yeah, and Claire told me, that, oh yeah, money doesn't buy you happiness, which is true, but it does buy you freedom. So,
Yeah,
you'd like to have that, that option to be able to, do more and not have to think about it. Be like, oh, gotta like slow down, but,
yeah,
you can, go back and give back to, if see somebody that's struggling, you can help them out and stuff like that, and, be able to, just help, people that want to be help, come up and stuff like that. So,
absolutely.
uh, and that's why I think I see myself leaning towards, as I start to get bigger and stuff like that. I would like to definitely start something to help people
People.
get to where they want to be and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I think that's really the greatest reward of being on the path that we're on, is that at some point we can pass the elevator back down and help other people up and show them the way and show them the path, you know. Um, and I really want to kind of tag on to what Clara said too, that, you know, money buys freedom, which I think is true in a way. I think, or I've heard that there's three different ways that someone can be wealthy, in a way, wealthy in the sense of having the sort of freedom. And that's, the first way is to basically cut your burn rate down to zero and live like a monk. So you're not spending any money, but you have all your free time, you know, you have total
Mm-hmm.
control of your schedule. And then the second way is to go into a trade or something you're passionate about, because then that way it gets to, you know, like you love what you're doing, so you don't work a day in your life, kind of, you know, that
Yeah,
philosophy. And then the third way is to build a business or create an asset that then can, take care of all of your expenses and then some. And that's the path of entrepreneurship.
yeah, yes, and I think that last one, something what they call passive income.
Yeah,
Yep, yep.
absolutely.
So and that's the ultimate goal as well. Just to be able to, like you said, just be able to have that, at the end of the day, that freedom.
Absolutely. And,
So
you know, there's the common adage of success is not what you know, but who you know. What is your experience with this?
oh, it is. I mean, in the liquor industry, it is really like that, especially, not being able to, or being a startup and not being, maybe uh, whoever, I can't even tell you the big names in the alcoholic business and stuff like that, but, just maybe saying that, oh, when Ciroc was hot, like be like, oh yeah, I'm with Ciroc and stuff like that, and then you can be able to, off rip, get into the bars, get into placements and stuff like that. We don't have that pleasure of saying that. So what we have to do, from is not what which me and my business partner, we know a lot. Like we can give you numbers and stuff like that, and we experience this when it comes to, you know, when we tell tells different restaurants and venues and stuff like that. Like the first question they ask us is, "Who's our distributor?" I mean that in this area, like we tell them the distributor that we with, they'd be like, "Who's that?" Like never they don't pick it up because they don't know who's our distributor. So I mean, now that we go into a new distributor that has more weight, now we can be able to get in more venues and stuff like that. So that experience, at first we didn't like it,
Yeah,
because it's not, it's not about, right, and then my thinking is like, it's not about, uh, the fact that, they with this distributor and stuff like that, because, at the end of the day, like drinks is drink, like it's going to sell. Like if
that's
you
right.
if it's good, it's going to come off the shelf. Don't matter who sells it. Like it could be the National Republic or Southern Wine, or it can be Park Street, who's my old one, and people always say, who's that? But it's like if it's good, it's going to sell. Like so,
That's
it
right.
shouldn't be, and it shouldn't be based off of who and stuff like that. It should be based off your merits, because we heard time after time when we do events, when we do different things in regards to the Red Lady, like, oh, this is good. Is this in the stores? Like we'd be like, no, I mean they don't want to take us, stuff like that. So it's just like, if your product is good and me and Jared stand behind our product 100%, then it's going to sell. Like it shouldn't matter like uh what what you don't know or do know in the product or in the business and stuff like that. Like if it's good, it's good. And at the end of the day, like it's on me and me to be able to get my product out there so it can bring in more traction to the store and stuff like that. So it should, they should be willing to let us come into their establishment, because that probably bring new clientele, and open up more avenues and stuff like that for their business. So uh,
Absolutely. That's a
so I
that's
mean that's that's just my thought
that's
process on it.
that's really well put, man. I completely agree with you. I think it can't always be that success is necessarily what you know, but who you know. Although that does help sometimes, like getting connections with distributors. That's all through networking and knowing people. But at the same time, and this is something that I've kind of been wrestling with lately, or something that I guess I've been struggling with, is like looking at, say, lifeglass as an app and building the
Mhm.
Instagram account for to promote the app, or the podcast. It's like I was looking at like the internet as a whole and seeing, wow, well, everybody has an Instagram, like you're saying, and everybody wants to be famous. Everybody wants to become go viral or something, and just get
Mhm.
a little tiny slice of that. And or like with podcasts, like a couple of years ago, everyone was being a DJ and everyone had a DJ night. And now it's like that way with podcasts, where literally everyone has a podcast. And so I was
Exactly.
like, well, what am I doing? What's, like, I'm just doing what everybody else is doing, and there's no merit to that. And it's just like I was comparing myself to everything else, where I generally and normally will compare me to me. And that's the only
Exactly.
metric you can really go off of. Compare yourself to yourself, know what your product or service is, and know the merit behind it. And not only believe in it, but to know in your heart of hearts that it's true, that it's a good product, that it is a useful product, and that it is something that people will love. And that's really all it takes is yeah, exactly what you said. Knowing your product is good and has the integrity that it has, and then just letting that grow and flourish over time.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, it's just standing behind your product 100% of the time. And I kind of with Claire and she probably might get mad at me for spilling some of our conversations out on the podcast, but
I can edit it
I'm gonna
out
keep
later
it
if that's okay.
I'm gonna keep it no, it's good.
If you
I'm
want.
gonna keep it
Okay,
light.
okay.
But no, I mean,
Shout
and
out Claire.
yeah, Claire, she, I mean, at first when we first started dating and stuff like that, she hadn't finished her degree in marketing and stuff like that, and she was like, just talking about that age, and I was like, stop comparing yourself to what you see out there on social media and stuff like that. Just run your own race. Like, it's people that's going through different situations, and you don't know exactly what they may be going through. Just because they put it on social media doesn't mean they are just just frolicking in the in the
Yeah,
sunflower, just having a good old time. But they go through pretty much the same thing you probably go through. They just don't express it and stuff like that. So just stay in your lane, run your own race. And as time build, you will look up and be like, wow, I'm almost there to where I am. And I told her, like, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I was like, yo, look, you about to graduate this year. Like 2 years ago, you was like, oh man, I got so many, so many classes, so many this, so many that. I was like, yo, just run your own race. And then, now it's like, I'm glad that you were able to, be I was able to be your number one fan, and it's not because, I want to see her finish, but it's the fact that, you are out there, achieving something, you finishing, what you started and stuff like that. And that give you a boost, physically, mentally, emotionally, to be able to, know that you finished something.
absolutely.
And so it's and it just reminds me of the fact that 2 years ago she was like, oh, I don't want to do it. And then now seeing that she only has like 2 more classes and she's graduating with her bachelor's in marketing, which she's a very great marketing expertise. And now that she's able to have her degree in it, it just carries more weight behind, her knowledge and stuff like that. And I tell her all the time, like, it's not it's not the fact that you didn't finish it, or you didn't achieve it 2 years ago. It's the fact that you put in all the work, to get to this point. Now you have something to hang your hat on and be like, I got through the ringer. I overcame that mental darkness, and came out on the other side, and it wasn't all that bad. You know,
Absolutely.
it really wasn't like it wasn't that bad. And I appreciate her for being able to fight through it, even though like everything, it was some tough times. Like work. She was doing work. She was doing class. She was doing the business, and she was able to just stay focused. And we was able to support each other. Because she was supporting me when I was um going through my master's, running the business. And when I finished last year, all I can do is pay her the same respect and help her. So I'm like, yo, look where you're at now. You're almost there. So don't take the semester off, but
Yeah.
just know that a couple more weeks, couple more months, you're right there where you thought you couldn't be at 2 years ago.
Beautifully said. Run your own race. And
Yeah.
I think when we compare ourselves to other people, we're never specific about like by what parameters or what metrics we're comparing ourselves to them by, right? So like with Claire, if she's worried that, oh, I can't graduate in 4 years because that's what everybody else is doing. It's like, okay, well, why don't you compare yourself to the people who don't even finish a 4-year degree? Like, why
Yeah.
don't you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter how long you take it, just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. And I mean, she's done it. And now we're about to be we're about to be done with school, both of us. Or she's about to be done with school. So that, now that makes
It's gonna
sense.
feel
We'll have more
so
time
good when she
to be.
finishes.
Yeah. And once we do, now she's going to have more time to work on, what she want to do, put more time into the business, and, let that flourish, and, just do what she want to do in the marketing side of the company and stuff like that. So, so yeah.
Absolutely. We all have our own unique path to forge, and it is unique to us because
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have all of our fingerprints are differently. We're all built different, from each other. And
Exactly.
it's like, yeah, the only metric you can really compare is, am I better today than I was yesterday? And
Exactly.
because everyone has to run their own race, like for me personally, like I didn't finish my bachelor's degree, but at this also, like I recognize like this is not going to get me to ultimately what I want to have in life and where I want to be. It'll just set me further back. And it's I think it's just important to be specific about what's actually important to you, because when you can actually find that out and find out what you want or find out what you don't want out of your life, then you can actually be, it's like a knife becoming more refined and sharper the more that you sharpen it. You're sharpening the knife of
Yes.
yourself, of your identity, of what you actually want. And that, I mean, you hear it all the time that being specific is the key really to actually getting what it is that you want out of your life.
Yeah, exactly. And just piggyback is just like, is you versus you.
Yeah.
Me versus me, like however way you put it. It's never me versus the Tom or whatever like that. Like Tom may be going through a different situation I'm going through. He's probably at a different stage in his life, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever. And I can't compare myself to what I see on the outside, when everything is probably done on the inside, how he motivates himself, what he do, when I don't see him and stuff like that. So the only thing you compare yourself to is yourself, because at the end of the day you are responsible for yourself. And to also piggyback off of what you had said about time and things like that, like I always tell her that you make time for the things that you want to do and people you want to see and stuff like that. So what she's doing now, like that's we hang out, we do homework, classwork, business and stuff like that. That's because we are invested in being able to see ourselves growing in this direction and stuff like that. And it's a positive aspect, you know, hanging out with our families, hanging out with, you know, friends and stuff like that. Like we make time for the people that and the things we want to do.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
You know, if everyone is in a different stage of their own growth at any given moment, you know,
Yeah.
and if some people haven't necessarily started that journey yet, I think they are in a way, you know, people are struggling endlessly are coming to recognize and wake up, I guess, to the truth that that I can be anything that I want to be, and I can do anything that I want to do. And like you don't plant a seed and then look at the oak tree and then a few days later dig up the seed and yell at it for not being like the oak tree. You know, it's like you got to give it time to germinate and grow, and then you can look at the
Exactly.
oak tree as like a model or an example for the seed. um,
Hmm.
like maybe the oak tree had better sunlight, you know, what kind of water is it getting at this part, or what's the soil like right here. But we're always berating ourselves for no reason, you know. It's like we have to kind of be easy with ourselves, and we have to know that it's a constant process.
Exactly. Exactly. And to end with that, you can also say that, oh, you want to be like the oak tree, or the seed want to be like the oak tree, but maybe, you know, it's not within the seed to be like the oak tree. It's going to have their own direction, own, you know, whatever it is. Like the oak tree might be standing straight up, but the seed want to, you know, it grows, it's going to get even bigger than the
Yeah,
oak tree, but it's probably going to lean to the left a little bit. But
absolutely.
you know, who is you to like say that, oh, you know, you can have models, you know,
Yeah.
or you have somebody that you look up to, but doesn't mean you're going to be exactly like that person,
Yep.
because you're going to have, you probably come to the same solution but work the problem out differently, totally different. But
Absolutely.
it's no right or wrong. You know, you
Absolutely.
got the same thing done, but you know, you have a model, but you have a way to be able to like, oh, this works better for me because, you know, I'm more comfortable with this, you know.
Absolutely.
I don't like I don't like, you know, standing out and being the vocal person. I get all my stuff done in the back room and stuff like that. You know, it's people out there that, you know, that achieve the same thing but different methods.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, I mean, when that acorn grows up to be an oak tree, whenever that is, it'll look completely different, but it'll still be beautiful, and it'll be beautiful in its own unique way. And that's what we are. We're all moving to this place where we're becoming our true original selves. Maybe the acorn isn't even an acorn, you know, maybe it ends up being like an orange bush or something, orange tree, you know. I mean,
Yeah,
but it's no less beautiful than the oak tree that it was modeled after. And so you can't, yeah, great point. While you can compare it or maybe look to inform your, you know, your growth to this role model you have, know that you're not going to be them, and you never will. And the world doesn't want another one of them. It wants you. It wants what
exactly.
you can be, what you can grow into, and what you can be your best. It wants the best possible version of you. We have a duty, I
Exactly.
think, to become that.
Exactly. And like you said, like doesn't want to, the world doesn't want another, you know, somebody X, whoever, you know, because, you know, I am going to have a different perspective than you.
Yeah,
I mean, we're bringing something different to the table. Like if we all like thinking the same and bringing the same thing to the table, there's no room for growth in everybody that's around the table, because everybody gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, we all
yeah,
thought the same. You know, we're gonna leave, you know, the same way we came in.
absolutely,
So in order for, you know, yourself to get better, you gotta be that, you know, put your opinion, put your perspectives on the table, because, you know, you might be like, oh, well, they might not want to, you know, hear what I have to say. I mean, you just as important, you know, to the table
absolutely,
as everybody else. If they didn't want you to come, if they didn't want you to come, you would never be there. So, you know, it is on you to be able to put your ideas forward, put whatever you need to do forward, and not be like the person next to you or the person to the right of
absolutely,
you, stuff like that. So I'm
absolutely.
totally in agreement
That's
with you.
really well said. Yeah, I mean, because yeah, you don't want to be, you know, like you don't want to be the next Tony Robbins or whatever. You want to be the next Jevaris Little, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. and I know what, I can bring that energy right now, because I'm still in my 20s, so I have, a lot of energy, young and stuff like that, and I can just bring, my youth leadership, what I've been through, uh, throughout my high school, college days, and stuff
Absolutely.
like that, what I learned throughout my youth stages to where I am right now, to be able to be like, all right, you know, this is this is what I saw, this is what I did, this is what works for me, and I put it out there, and I don't want somebody to be like a yes or yes man or whatever. Let's talk about it. Let's see, pick apart what I can, what you see that, may be different. Because I don't want to be like, oh, I'm the smartest man in the room. Like
Never
all
want to be that.
let's all follow me. Now
Yeah.
you should be like, if they said that, if you are the smartest person in the group, it's time for you to leave the group, because it's
Yeah.
time to, you elevate it, out of that group or circle, or whatever like
Go to a
that. So
bigger
it's
pond.
yeah,
Take jump in
exactly.
the ocean.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't want to, nor do I want to be that smarter person in the room, because I would like to, be critiqued on, what needs to be done for, me to get better and stuff like that. Because
Yeah.
if everybody's agreeing, I'm not getting, like, if I be like, oh yeah, the sky's blue, and knowing dang well it's not blue.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh
Right.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Could
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah,
sunset.
yeah,
Could be
yeah,
like purple and
yeah.
orange. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they'd be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, I don't, I'm not facing any, backlash or critique about that. So I'm just to be like, oh yeah, what I said, it was done.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. I'm always willing to be the dumb guy and ask, the dumb questions. I'm always willing to be the beginner and ask very amateur questions, because
mhm.
if there's a question, I mean, like I'm willing to be skeptical of everything. And I think we all need to be that way. Like I heard it really well said that in the beginner's mind, there are an infinite amount of possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are very few. And I think that's such a great point. If you try and if you get into a fixed way of this is how we do things here, then you're not open to what could be. You're very closed off and rigid. And, when I mean, rigid things they tend to break.
Yeah, yeah, and that goes back to our conversation we had last week about, just when I moved outside of, when I went to college, experienced different cultures, met different people and stuff like that. Like my mind was all, in Florida. I wasn't traveling outside of the state as much, but being able to be in, at the University of Illinois, and get to meet different backgrounds, different people from all over the world, and be able to adapt, learn about their culture, and not just know that, oh, what they were doing in Florida, they gonna do it in Illinois. I'm just fine. But no, it's not that way. You open yourself up to, different, perspectives in life, and it's like a big melting pot to be like, you to be considerate of others, and, not think that, just because you say it, it is the gospel. No, I mean, there's other, things out there that can be, just as well put. That's probably what, probably better than what you had said, or what I had said. So yeah, being, culturally, diverse, and I guess intellectually diverse as well. Kind of open up your eyes to seeing different things, here in the world.
Shows you more possibilities of what could be.
Hmm. Yeah,
That's
and you just got to, and it's on you to, not be stubborn and be like, oh yeah, man, I ain't finna learn that, because it's not gonna benefit. It's not gonna benefit you.
exactly.
You're gonna be the one left behind at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Everybody else out there enjoying, what other people, experience in life from different parts of the world, and you just like, just the one person, just like, nah,
Yeah.
nah.
The businesses
So
that can't pivot and change direction when a change is needed are the ones that end up failing and collapsing. Or like
exactly.
with big YouTubers. I mean, the ones who have been around forever. I mean, they recognized that the style of content that they were making needed a change because what people wanted to watch was changing as well. And so the ones that have been around forever are the ones who are able to adapt and see this is the trend now, like let's play
Hmm.
videos or whatever. That's the trend now. That's what's popular. So let's do some of that. And then they're
Yeah,
willing to make the change is what allows them to continue to grow.
yeah, exactly. And another, and we just stay on that with YouTube, like, a lot of these songs now, like, you had like music videos be played on YouTube, BET, whatever like that. Now, like, a lot of these songs, like, you don't start noticing them until like they're on like TikTok, the reels on Instagram and stuff like that. Like, that's how like a lot of people are starting to pick up on these songs. It's not like the same old, all right, music video and drop, let me go to YouTube, or let me go to certain channels, MTV, and see the music video. Like, rarely that's done.
Yeah.
Everything is transitioning to more of the social media platform, being able to get their songs out there, and be the next TikTok dance, or the challenge,
Yep.
this and that. So you see that pivot, uh, in the entertainment industry, and they not solely just banking on, all right, I'm gonna be, BET, we're gonna play music videos to the cows come home. No,
Mm-hmm.
you don't even see music videos on TV anymore. Like,
Uh-huh.
you don't see none of that. It's all on YouTube, or it starts, challenges and stuff starts on YouTube, or Instagram and stuff like that. And the transition to YouTube, and that's how a lot of the music are starting to grow and develop and stuff like that. So
Yeah, change is going to happen,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's inevitable. So when we accept it, then that's when we can really find the opportunity in it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like finding that new way to expand, grow your business, grow personally and stuff like that. It's fun. It's fun. I love being able to learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Claire said she likes when I I have time when I just just pick up and just read like different things in finances, different ventures out there that might be up and coming, here in US, and internationally, in regards to real estate, travel and stuff like that, because you just want to know, because I don't want to just be not caught up on the current events, or what could be something that takes place 2 years, 3 years down the line, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't know that trend, and translate right now to my business. Like, me and Jared are able to capture. We're going to be able to capture the millennials, Generation Z, that's more of not drinking beer, and everything is like more of a seltzer, ready to go. The Red Lady is in that category. So we're trying to make sure we are positioning ourselves to be able to be a part of that movement as well, because like 2-3 years ago, like, nobody heard of White Claw. Like,
Yeah, that's right.
like now, it's becoming like seltzers, ready to go drinks is becoming the new thing, and it's starting to take over wine and beer and stuff like that, because a lot of young people are not like into that.
Yep.
So we want to make sure we're strategically positioning ourselves through marketing. Shout out to Clea. I gotta make sure I give her
That's shout out to
make sure I
Claire.
give
Yep.
her and marketing, and position ourselves strategically, business wise, to make sure we are able to be able to capitalize on the opportunity when it comes. So we have the infrastructure right now, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Canada, to be able to make sure that we're able to be in the right position at the right time.
Absolutely. And I think another thing, like with Red Lady, it's a category all of its own, and you have to create a
Yeah,
category that's entirely new. That's
exactly.
what really sets people apart, because if you're, again, it comes back to comparing yourself to others, or comparing your brand or product to others. If you say, oh, well, this is just, I mean, if this is a um, beer, wine, or liquor, quote unquote, then it's like, well, then you have to compete with all the beer, wine, and liquor. It's like, but no,
Yeah,
this is a unique rum punch type drink that the
yep,
market doesn't have. and people will
Exactly.
be receptive to because it's new and different, and people love new and different.
Is exactly. And just like what we talked about earlier, like we see, or you compare yourself to whatever somebody else did, or you model yourself after that. We as the Red Lady, we model ourselves after Hypnotic, which was like the 2000 drink. It came out, it's like a vodka and stuff like that. And like, yeah, we see our success like that, but that was in 2000s.
Yep.
We're 2020 2021, so we got to make sure that we're more relatable to the crowd that we're dealing with now, because back then Hypnotic was, it was the big hip hop push,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, even though we see ourselves there. But a lot of younger people, is on the social media, and not like, not like on the music scene and stuff like that, entertainment scene, as much. It's more of a they go out and create their own, they create their own movement, or generate their own content and stuff like that. And that's where we want to be able to capitalize on, those TikTokers, bloggers,
Yeah.
Instagrammers, to be able to, create their own thing with the drink, and be able to share it with their friends. Because everything spreads. Word of mouth is more like, word of video, word of 3 seconds, or snap
Yep.
or whatever like that. So we want to make sure that we're positioning, like I said, position ourselves to be able to still model the success of Hypnotic, because they have the Incredible Hulk, which is Hypnotic and Hennessy. You can mix this, we call it the Daredevil, when you mix the Red Lady with Hennessy. And we have to get the Red Mosa, the Red Lady and champagne and stuff
Yep.
like that. So you can, it's not only enjoyable by itself, but you can also enjoy it, at home, and be your own bartender and stuff like that. And so we're trying to make sure
Absolutely.
we are creating ways to connect with people, to be like, this is not just you just pour and just sip, just have fun with it and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
Absolutely.
that's what.
A single SKU, which is great because when you have 100 different SKUs or products or whatever, it's like, well, how are you going to market it? A single SKU that represents the brand that can be used in a whole variety, or a whole bunch of different ways. Um,
Mhm.
and that's huge. And I think, you touched on White Claw. I think like in the 90s, there was like it was called, I think it was called Zima or something like that, but it's essentially the same thing, just carbonated malt liquor. And
Yeah,
it ended up dying out because people were, very big beer and wine drinkers. And so
yeah,
White Claw was able to seize on an opportunity, and, and what you see as well, that, you know, drinkers want something different. They want variety. They want something new and interesting that they haven't necessarily had before. So
exactly,
reintroducing it,
exactly.
a product that's similar and yet still unique and original to its own brand and identity, um, reintroduced it to the market, and then it blows up and explodes. So I think that's a great example.
Yes, yes. That and like you said, the one that came out in the 90s, like it wasn't the time.
Yep.
Like they probably like looking back like, oh, if we came out in 2021, we would did good. But
Totally different story.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it just goes about, timing and opportunity, seasonal opportunity and stuff like that. So that's why you just gotta like we spoke about last time. I was like, there's no time like the present. Like you got
That's
to
right.
make sure, you see the opportunity, you make sure you are ready, so you never have to get ready. Just like when the Canada experience, like I'm ready, so I
Yeah.
never have to get ready. Stay ready, so I never have to get ready. So
Absolutely. Yes. I think that's a great point, man. Um, so I guess a question I had for you then was there, I know you did your master's in international business, but was there a moment for you, because where you looked around at the different kinds of lives that people are living, going into a career, having a salary with a 9 to 5, was there a moment for you when you realized, this is not for me, this is not what I want?
oh yeah, and yeah, that was pretty much on a day-to-day basis when when I finished school, got my bachelor's and stuff like that. It was just, like I said, it was just like I don't see myself just being in the office, doing the same thing over and over and over again. It was fine because I was getting the check, but at the same time, like I wasn't bettering myself. I didn't see my, I didn't, they wasn't, kind of, everything there at the job I was working at, they was kind of doing everything off of who basis and not based off of merit. And I was pretty much qualified for some of those positions, the upper level positions, as manager or supervisor and stuff like that. But I was looked over because some person came in and knew whoever and was able to, with no nothing in the industry, it was a medical industry, healthcare industry, and be able to get that step above me because of just based off who So I just like, I sat there and peep game. I didn't like get mad or anything like that, but I just knew that at the time I was 23. I was like, I still have time to be able to do what I can do to make myself better. And I'm not going to sit here and, complain another 2-3 years and let that time just go by, doing the same thing, possibly doing the same thing I'm doing then. So
Yeah.
I just took that leap. I took the leap, looked out, or kind of like thought about what I saw myself in life. It took me like a month or two just to like put together things that would interest me, what I felt like was something that I could go about and be proud of and stuff like that. So I made sure that, I prayed over it, had the support from friends and family to, be able to, pursue my master's and also start, get in partnership with the Red Lady Rum Punch,
Yeah.
and be able to have that certain entity in life to be able to be proud of. And it's funny because last year, 2020, was COVID. And
Yep.
I was like, like, the first month, me and my girlfriend took a cruise for my birthday in January, and was like, and like the next week I was in Atlanta for an event, and I was like in Vegas, like all before, like in like 2 or 3 months span, before COVID shut down and everything. And I was like, oh man, like, and we had events lined up like for the whole month or whole year of 2020. And it's like, oh man, I don't know, what am I going to do? Like, it was just
Yep.
like that. Oh man, like either I sit here and complain about situations, or I can just, put in the time, the effort to be able to set up something that once things start opening up, I don't know if it's 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, just to be ready to be out there back on the streets and stuff like that, meet with businesses when they open up and stuff like that. So there was a time, throughout that I was just looking, I had graduated and I was like looking for different employment opportunities. And, I was like, man, they, I had this mindset like, oh, I just graduated my master's, like I should pick up, jobs like that, like, just because, might
Yeah.
be COVID or whatever like that, I was like, man, I think I'm in a good position to be able to, pretty much, be qualified for any and everything. And
Totally.
and boy, was I wrong. Like it was so bad that I had to create another email just so I can, all right, I apply with this email, and this is just, all application emails, and I got rejected left and right and left. Like it was just terrible. I was like, dang, why is, I interviewed, like they was like, yeah, love, your experience with the, being an entrepreneur. And, and I felt like some companies didn't like that, like that, I was doing things on my own,
Yeah.
because it was like, oh, well, I mean, you might be here for a certain amount of time. But at the same time, like, it's like COVID, like nobody's like hiring. Like, what you want me to do? Sit here and just twiddle my thumbs
You're right.
24/7? Like,
Yep.
I gotta do something,
Got to make
to make
moves.
myself. Yeah, I gotta make moves. And it's just like, they'd be like, oh, I love your resume, love your background, this and that. But I don't think, you might be too much invested into it. I'm like, I mean, if I'm taking the time out to apply, like it doesn't matter if it's freaking, freaking, I gotta, freaking clean toilets or speak with the CEO every day. Like I'm gonna put in the same amount of effort. I'm gonna give you the same amount of effort that I would, my side business, my side hustle and stuff like that. Just because I'm doing something on the side doesn't mean like I'm taking this as taking this job just as propel myself. Like I'm just, at the time I was thinking that I can gain more experience in the corporate world and stuff like that, and still putting that 110%, 100% to be able to work with the company, be employed, and also have my side business. And and I wasn't like, at the time it was going to be a slow grind with the side business because everything was not as open as it is now. So they'd be like, oh yeah, I love, no, love what you do. And I just don't think that you going to be invested. I'm like, how you just going to you can't just say that and not actually see me actually putting the work. So I got a lot of no's and stuff like that. And so I created a whole separate email just for that. So I was like,
Yeah.
man, it's not going to my regular email. I keep all that BS. If they want to send, unfortunately, we're going in a different direction. All right, cool. That, I mean,
Yeah.
the more of those I got, the stronger I became mentally in handling things I do now with the Red Lady. Because it's like, I heard all the no's. I've heard all the no's from employers, CEOs, what they call it, CPOs, chief people operator, stuff like that, or
Yeah.
chief people officers and stuff like that. Like, so I spoke to the higher, and I spoke with owners, as the Red Lady. So I've been told no. It's not my first time. So
Yep.
and it's not going to be my last time. So I cherish the fact that things that I learned throughout those rough times in 2020, either employer based, trying to find a job, and now getting into different establishments like that. Like I cherish that because it's like I've at the end of the day, the only bad thing, they can say is no. Like it'd be like,
Exactly.
hey, it's like, I mean, you could say whatever, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be all right. You wanna not, So I mean, so
Absolutely.
I kind of got used to the nose, and and not to say that I put forth the same I did the same thing that I did before. I changed things up. I learned from that experience, and maybe hopefully be able to land things. But at the end of the day, things don't fall your way, so you just gotta pivot in life, pivot business wise, as an owner, stuff like that. And I feel like I wouldn't be at this point if I didn't either receive those no's or didn't pivot. So
Yep.
I appreciate those moments, because I wouldn't be who I am now. Like I have established infrastructure that once things start to kick off, then it's going to be a time I look
Absolutely.
back and be like, it was a point that it was dark, it was hazy. Like I just graduated, no employer wanted me, but I knew one person that wanted me, which was myself. And then
Yes.
along with that, my family, friends, and my girlfriend as well. So
Shout out Claire.
yeah, shout out Claire.
Yeah,
So,
man. I think that's really well put. And I think, yeah, I mean, there was always this big myth that there's security in a job, but I think the pandemic has made people really wake up to the truth that, like, no, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, it could be, but
yeah,
at the end of the day, the only one who's going to take care of you is you. And
exactly.
honestly, you wouldn't want to work for any company that doesn't understand that you're working on something, or that you have a life outside of that company. Like, I just would not, I don't want and would never want to have a life where I'm just constantly going in doing the same thing day in, day out. I appreciate entrepreneurship because it is like while there is a grind, there's so much like learning that has to happen. It's really an internal journey of self. And
Yeah.
it's pretty wonderful in that way because you recognize that what you have to do what's going to bring you to where you want to be, and not just because you feel like you need to do something or you feel like you need to be working or doing something. It's it's just uh, I don't know. I would encourage everyone to examine, why they're working at the place that they're working, and ask them what it is that they actually want, and if where they are is going to get them to where they want to be. And
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with employment, but if it's not for you, then you're never going to be happy for it. Maybe you
Yeah.
do need to be an entrepreneur, but not to say that entrepreneurship is for everybody. Some people can be very happy being specialists, like that's, I think, the biggest reason people go to school ultimately, is to get a bachelor's or a master's, and then they ultimately end up with higher positions in companies. But it's still just going to school to be a tool that's leveraged in a bigger system, as opposed
Exactly.
to what we're doing, which is creating the system.
Yeah. Exactly. And I'm glad that with the master's program that I had taken at Nova Southeastern University, I was able to, when I was going through my entrepreneurship phase, it was like, it was School of Business and Entrepreneurship at that school. So I was able to, apply what I was doing into the actual class lesson and stuff like that. I was like, it was finance and stuff like that. It'd be like, oh, this is how you work a spreadsheet and stuff like that. I knew how to work a spreadsheet, but using the formulas and this and that, like that's where I started to grow tremendously as a businessman, and just grew, with the different management things that you had to know, that we learned about, and different ways how to um, do business internationally and stuff like that. It helped me, because it showed you the business side, but also the entrepreneurial phase as well. Because and it was sometimes I was like, the teacher was asking me, hey, can you speak, about what you are doing at this moment. And I feel like, when I was doing my introduction and told them like, yeah, I own my own alcoholic beverage brand. And the teacher was like, wow, like, she messaged me, was like, can you, be able to, relate to, or you spread your message about maybe what you're going through right now, that, I might not understand or might not know right now in this time, this day and age and stuff like that. So I was able to, share my journey and stuff like that throughout class. And it made me get better, because it was like, now I'm getting that feedback, different perspectives, and they ultimately helped me with, yeah, all right, I
Yeah.
can do this and this this and that. And so just growing through the stages of my master's program, and still running my businesses and stuff like that, it helped me develop where I wanted to ultimately go. And I was able to take some of those feedbacks, take some of those notes, and some of those things that I learned, and access that, or uh, be able to incorporate that into my journey and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
That's wonderful, man. So what message then would you give to people who are, they want more out of life, but they don't know what that looks like? You know, people who are thinking about who want more, but they don't know what that looks like. And I think a lot of people, because there's so much opportunity out there. I mean, there's an
Hmm.
abundance of opportunity, but they get so overwhelmed with all these things that they can do, that and so intimidated that they end up just kind of doing the same thing. So what would you say to a someone to bridge the gap between thinking and doing?
Well, my first, and this can go different ways and stuff like that. So your listeners can take it how best fits with their life and stuff like that. So, um, what I want to say is that you don't know what success look like your success. You don't know what that looks like unless you get to that point. Like you can be successful in knowing, having being, I guess, rich in knowledge. You can be successful with, whatever you have, um, you know, item wise. You can be successful spiritually. You can be successful. Pretty much wherever your goal is, you can be successful. And I don't want to, just be like narrow, like, oh, you got to have this to be successful. Like how I see success is, being able to, one, enjoy the things that I like to do. I love to travel. I love hanging out with my family, especially. And I love hanging out with my grandma.
Yeah.
She's kind of like, you know, when I'm kind of working from home, I kind of like go over there because she's by herself and stuff like that. So I kind of like take my office over there and just chill with her. And like I see my success being that I'm going to be able to make her proud of me, stuff like that. So I don't want it to be nearly focused. So what I want to say about that is like uh, being successful is achieving your goal in life, no matter where you want to go, what you want to do, what are your plans. Just make sure you go out there and do it. Like you miss 100% of the shots of the ones you don't take.
Yeah.
So being able to take that leap and being able to uh, pull that parachute so you can be able to survey the land as you're falling out, and pulling the parachute, you survey the land of where what life is about. Like
Yeah.
you don't see that if you don't jump.
Right.
You don't see the views, you don't see the perfect, whatever the landscape is out there. So it can be like, oh, I took a leap. You're gonna have some rocky times, but just as long as you are persistent and keep going at it, and never giving up, because it's I mean it's something out there for somebody.
Yes.
So you don't want to be the one to miss out just because you didn't take it or you just didn't do it and stuff like that. So I would like
Absolutely.
for your listeners to be able to go out and do it. If you have a plan, you have something in mind, just do it. Like you only live once.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you can't be like, oh well, I'm gonna just this is my test life. I'm gonna do it next one. Like nah, like there's never there's where I think of it as there's no tomorrow, because if I don't do it today, or if I don't set up things for today, then it's not gonna I'm be like, oh well, tomorrow. Well, tomorrow's gonna be tomorrow if I if I
Yep.
plan
Tomorrow
for
never comes. It's
it. Yeah,
always today.
exactly. So I try to have that mindset, like let's get it out the way today, or let's build the plans up for today so I can be able to do what I need to do to be successful, and,
Yes.
and build from there and stuff like that, because Rome wasn't built in a day. It took 12
No,
years.
that's right.
12 years. 12 years.
That's right.
So and that's kind of like my mindset. Just whatever you have, just do it. Don't matter how you do it, just do it.
Take the leap to be yourself. Take the leap to be
Exactly.
original. Just, it's no amount of thinking can get you there. You just have to do it and know what you want. And maybe it takes time to really understand what it is that you want. For me personally, going through school, I was never interested in any conventional career path. I was never interested in having a 9 to 5 or having a good salary or whatever, only to be able to spend time with my family in the evenings and weekends, and being so tired that all I feel like I have to do is stay in and sleep in. And you know, for me, I recognized, and the decision that made me ultimately leave college was realizing that it's all up to me, and that the chart that I coursed is my own, and it looks different for everybody. But for a long time, I measured myself by what everybody else was doing. And because I looked at that, I saw myself as a failure, that I wasn't doing what everyone else is doing. But now I see that you make the choices that nobody else is making to live a life that nobody else has, or maybe they dream of, but they aren't.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
the proverb goes that the stone that the builders didn't want becomes the keystone. It becomes the most important stone that holds the whole bridge up.
Okay. And also, everybody has that turn back moment as well. And if you like in the point that be like, oh, I should give up, like you said, like, you know, if you're debating about if you should give up or not, you just have that moment where you can either go forward or give up. But you just got to keep in mind that before you give up, the only guarantee is that it will never happen. And you know, and that's with the guarantee of quitting. You know, it just will never happen in your life, or you know, it would just never come. And so just never, no matter what, never give up, because you know God is coming. That's that's the that's like kind of you know, my, when I said earlier, like my tread water, you know, just keep at it and whatnot. So
Yeah, beautifully said. Beautifully said. Um, well, Jevaris, with that, I think it's a very punctual and very fitting end to this conversation. So I wanted to thank you again for joining me, because I think a lot of listeners are going to get a lot of value and a lot of wisdom from what you've said and what you've brought today. So thank you very much.
yeah, no, thank you for, you know, reaching out to me. You know, when we spoke 2 weeks ago, and being able to you know, set up this time to be able to, you know, I share my experience, and you know, hopefully later on down the line, I can, you know, get back and update, you know, your listeners, your followers and stuff like that, how we're doing. And you know, just, I mean, I know we're going to always stay connected and stuff like that,
Of
because I
course.
have your number and stuff like that, so we can be able to just, you know, catch up with each other and stuff like that. But I'm excited to see, you know, your growth in your development. And you know, I'm cheering for you. I'm backing you 100%. So if you have any questions, or if you want me to come back on your podcast, and you know, maybe have Claire with me as well, so she just speak about some, you know, some of her
I would love that.
her experience and stuff like that. I mean, we're all for it.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, I bet she'll love it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. And I really look forward to, hearing from you and doing another episode. And, I just, I'm very, very grateful for this. It's very
Yes, sir.
uplifting and very motivating. And I think listeners will really love this. And I am very excited to hear all about the milestones and the wins for Red Lady. So you can feel free to call or text me anytime you want and tell me about it, and I'll, cherish the win with you, man. So
Okay.
keep on
Appreciate
grinding
that.
and send me a bottle of Red Lady.
Yes, sir. I got you. I will.